Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Dr. Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is, man. It's always good to be in your presence because your presence does make a difference.
Thank you. We've got Curtis Baker here with us today as well. How you doing, Curtis?
I'm doing real good. You know, I got a new title now.
What is the title?
I'm a virtual Zoom manager.
Okay. All right. Let's recognize our sponsors, man.
We got a great show coming up. Robert Jackson's going to be joining us.
Yes.
But first, our sponsors.
Yes, Lee Carlson and Crawley are with us. Marion County Health Department. We have Fervent Prayer Christian Academy. We also have Isles Modern Clothing and Shoes. These are our sponsors who make sure we're able to zoom into you when we Zoom.
We're going to have to zoom away real quick for a word from those sponsors, but stay with us. We'll be back after this. Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And we have an esteemed guest with us on today. I want to welcome to Real People, Real Voices, international motivational speaker and owner and operator of Stand Up Incorporated, 501c3, and doing a tremendous job. Robert Jackson, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me, gentlemen. Good to see you both.
Good to have you here. Being a motivational speaker, before we get into some of the things that you're going to be talking about, how has COVID-19 impacted your ability to get around, talk to folks?
Well, I like to consider myself a solutions-based speaker because anytime it's good to motivate people, but if you're not leaving them with something tangible when you leave, then you're just motivating them to go back and do what they were doing before. But the COVID-19, how it's impacted me, well, I'm used to doing live, in person, speaking engagements. Now I'm doing virtual. And it was tough at first, but once you get used to it, it's pretty cool, doing the virtual presentations and, you're able to reach people like right in their living room. I think that's neat. I'm thankful for technology, and we can continue to get a good word out to educators, to parents, to students, and we can still do it in a way where, like right now, I know we're in 3 different places, but we're right here up close and personal. So that's the only way it's affecting me, not doing the in-person presentations, but everybody's trying to stay safe right now.
You mentioned, Brother Robert, about solution-based. Out of all that we've been through, and you do target, and I mean target in a good sense.
Yes.
Young Black males. Not only young Black males, but a variety of ethnic backgrounds and groups. But you talked about the idea of solution-based. After all of this that we have encountered in the last 60 days, how do you go into a situation and still lead people solution-based with solutions?
Well, I think it starts with.
I think we need to work with that one.
Yeah, I think it starts with honesty. And, I grew up in Indianapolis, even though I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in Indianapolis. I grew up in Brightwood. I remember Michael Taylor like yesterday, Michael Taylor yesterday, because me and Mike were the same age. And I knew Michael Taylor. And I remember when he was in the back of that police car and they said he shot himself. And if you put your hands behind your back, it's no way possible you can do that. So I just want to make that point. But I don't know, for some reason, when you said that, it brought me back to that Michael Taylor incident. But what I mean by it is that in order to end the systemic racism, we got to change the system that was set up in place to profile us, to pre-criminalize us, the racial microaggressions that happen every day. Invisibilization is real. That's the act of seeing a situation, a person as invisible, not important, without breadth or depth. You see, Mike Vick is one of our speakers this year. Everybody's made some bad decisions, and our decisions have gotten us to where we are today. But I believe for every problem, there is a solution. And right now, it shouldn't have taken a young man being executed on national TV for us to make systemic changes in this country. You and I, all 3 of us, can talk about stories where we've been racially profiled, where we've been discriminated against. And I think it's time that we start looking at this thing for what it is and start having this conversation. So what I do, I go into the school districts and I have these conversations with administrators, with teachers, with parents, and trying to bridge the gap between educators, parents, and students.
That's a good segue, Robert, into the big conference you all have coming up. First time doing it in the way it's going to be done. You mentioned one of the speakers. This is called the No More Excuses Virtual Conference, featuring 5 national speakers, including yourself.
Yes, sir.
What precipitated calling it No More Excuses? And tell us about those who are going to be speaking.
Well, I call it, no, this is our 7th year having this conference. In the first 6 years, we did it in Indianapolis. We did it at Arlington High School first. And then for the last 5 years, it's been at Lawrence Central High School. But because of the COVID-19, we were going to cancel the conference at first. And my wife and I spoke about it. And we said, no, we need to continue to move forward. Even though COVID-19 is taking place, we need to continue to encourage and educate, activate, and motivate our students to be great. So that's why we decided to do the virtual conference. And actually this year is even bigger and better. We got more sponsors this year than we've ever had before. We're targeting 1,000 young men versus 300 or 400 like we've done in the past. We may even have 1,500, who knows? But the registrations are coming in, and the registration is absolutely free.
Now that's going to be phenomenal, isn't it, Jackson? Pastor Jackson.
Yeah. Well, since we're right there, how can people register?
Right.
They can go to robertjacksonmotivates.com and click on Conference 2020 and click on registration. We're giving away 10 $1,000 scholarships to a deserving high school senior going to college. We're giving away laptops. We're giving away bikes. We're giving away prizes. We have some phenomenal speakers. Calvin Mackey, whose brothers in all the Marvel movies. Calvin Mackey does a lot with STEM in New Orleans. We got Mark Lamont Hill, who's a fraternity brother of mine and good friend. He's a former CNN correspondent. Now he's on BET. And you know, we got Michael Vick. We got Ernesto Meja, was one of my great friends. That's my Mexican brother. And he's going to pull out that Hispanic population. And we got Gary Brackett. Gary Brackett's right there in Indianapolis doing big things in the city. Former Super Bowl champion, also a good friend of mine. So we're bringing all these brothers together, man, to try to encourage our young men from here to Canada. We got folks who are registering in Canada, in the United States. So we're really excited about it. We still got sponsors coming in. If you're looking at this and you want to sponsor, go to robertjacksonmotivates.com, click on Conference 2019 and donate. We can always use your donations, and it's tax deductible.
Robert,
No more excuses. Speak to that for us.
Well, the no more excuses is, it's time out for excuses. Excuses are tools and incompetence. It's time for us to make it happen. I grew up in Indianapolis and Brightwood. I never met my father. I grew up in poverty. No excuses. You got to play the cards you dealt. Now I'm married. I have 3 kids. I just had my first grandchild last Saturday. My son just brought me a grandson. So it's 3 generations. Time out for the excuses. I know I didn't grow up with a father. I know I had some bad circumstances. I know that I've been through trauma and all that, but time out for excuses. Now I'm married. Now I have children. Now I have to get this thing right. And we got to break these generational curses.
Going back to, we're in Indianapolis, and James is on the far east side. I'm on the far west side. You're in Atlanta.
Okay.
That's a lot going on in Atlanta, even as we speak.
Yes, sir.
As a motivational speaker and a person who believes in leaving solutions in every setting that he comes from, how do you feel about the atmosphere in Atlanta today?
Well, it's not just Atlanta, but you're talking about with the recent murder at the Wendy's.
Yes.
It's a lot of unrest, I think, in the country. And how I feel about it, I feel like I think that the systemic racism needs to stop. The police brutality needs to stop. It's funny that we're having this conversation because as a Black man for 49 years, I've been treated like a criminal. I've been treated like I've done something wrong at times. I've been racially profiled by the police, called out of my name, roughed up, and I'm out here trying to help the community and help police officers. Now you got the shoe on the other foot. You have some bad police officers. So now the good police officers are feeling the heat because of the bad police officers. So some of them are quitting the force. Some of them are complaining. And now you see what we've been feeling for the last 49 years, or how many years you've been on this planet. But here's the difference. I would never stop being black. I'm always going to be a black man, right? You can quit the police force, but I can't quit being black. I think that we need to bridge this gap between our community and the policing. When you go from 0 to 100, I can be sitting still and he's saying I'm aggressive and I'm out of control, and then you all of a sudden you grab somebody up and you slam them down. What is all that about? I think policing needs to be looked at. It needs to be changed. Putting your knee on somebody's back of somebody's head when they already handcuffed, is that really called for? I think this reform is as much needed as it's long overdue, and it needs to happen.
We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, Robert Jackson's going to be talking about thousands of dollars going to be given away during this conference. So we certainly want you to stay with us. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices, and I'm James Jackson, your host.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
We're joined by national speaker and author Robert Jackson. When we went to break, I think Dr. Moore was getting ready to ask your question, but first, tell us about the folks who are going to be underwriting this project.
Well, we have a lot of sponsors, so many to recognize, but our top sponsors are Lilly Endowment and Children's Bureau and the Department of Family and Children. And we want to thank them for their platinum sponsorship to put this together. Tanya Bell and Indiana Black Expos played a large role in what we're doing with the conference. So very thankful to have anybody. We got Eskenazi on board this year. We have Anthem. So we have a lot of Rowan Hamilton Law Firm there in Indianapolis. So we have a lot of local sponsors that have come forward that really believe in this project that we're doing. And we're just trying to help our young men and help them become responsible men as they grow into their manhood. So we're thankful for them.
Well, you're straight out of Brightwood, brother. We appreciate you.
BW, let's go.
Yeah, man, straight out of Brightwood and doing a national work. I think that's phenomenal. I did think that we kind of talked a moment about the stamina that it's going to take to make sure that systemic racism catches the total brunt of humanity in a way to where it changes. I said to you earlier, there are a lot of us who are Afro-American brothers who are tied to it.
Yes.
And will not admit that we're tied to it, but we're tied to it in some way, some unreasonable way. And we're afraid to speak out about it. What do you say about that?
I say your silence is betrayal. And I've been really monitoring closely with everything that's going on and watching those who are silent, because in other times they got a lot to say. When it's time for you to say something, you're not saying anything, and your silence tells me all I need to know about you. It's time for us to speak up, speak out, and speak often. And I'm not just talking to my Black brothers and sisters. I'm talking to my white brothers and sisters. I'm talking to my Asian brothers and sisters, Hispanic. It's time for us to speak up, speak out, and speak often. It's time for us to understand our culture of each other, the cultural awareness of each other's cultures. And it's time for us to have that conversation and end this systemic racism. And we have to do it collectively.
But Robert, you said something there that a lot of people, I don't think really understand. It's just not going to take the Black brother, the Asian brother, the Hispanic brother. It's going to take the Caucasian, the white brother as well.
Yes.
All ethnic groups, everybody has to be at the table and to buy into this. I don't think systemic racism will ever be eradicated if we are not inclusive of Caucasians being on the total conversation.
Absolutely.
It has to happen that way. because they know where all the landmines are.
Yep. That's a good
They
way
know
to
where all the landmines are, and they can help remove those landmines so that we can get rid of systemic racism.
And if you really look at it and you look at, the riots and I won't call them riots, I call it protesting, because I think people were planted in place to do looting, to do some of the rioting, and the news is trying to catch that. But the ones who are doing the peaceful protesting and what you see on TV, I'm seeing a lot of my white brothers and my white sisters who are coming forward to speak up and speak out. But we don't need some, we need everybody. And I think that's the key. And we got to have that uncomfortable conversation. And that's what I'm bringing to my presentations is we're going to have the uncomfortable conversation, because I've lived this for 49 years and we got kids who are living it now. There's a teacher who posted a picture with a Make America Great shirt on, and she had a noose next to her. I mean, this was a teacher. And I was able to talk to her boss this morning. She's since been let go from the position, but this is a person who is responsible for working with children, who is posting this kind of stuff on social media. We have to get out in front of this, and because we've been traumatized over and over and over again as Black men and Black women with no counseling. And people don't understand our passion. Well, you're not going to understand the passion behind it until you understand the story behind it and what we've experienced. And I think the story needs to be told, and it needs to be told properly. But more importantly, they need to be receptive to the story. And like you just said, speak up, speak out, and speak often.
No more excuses 2020 coming up. And before we have to let you go, tell us about the scholarships and how people can get their young people registered for this conference.
Yeah, we are really excited to be able to give back to the community that poured into me. I think about Bill Mays, who poured into me. I think about Ralph Dow from Willard Boys and Girls Club, who poured into me, Ray Satterfield. And I just want to be who those gentlemen were to me. I want to be to somebody else. And we're giving away these scholarships because we have kids who really want to go to college and don't have the money. And they may not be able to afford books. That's why I said no donation is too small. Every donation that comes in goes toward prizes and scholarships and trying to benefit our community. So we are giving away 10 scholarships to deserving seniors going to college. We're giving away laptops. We're giving away bikes and gift cards. We got some phenomenal speakers that agreed to give time on July 24th to come out and encourage our young men. But we're not going to just talk at them. We're going to leave them with some strategies and some solutions. We're solutions-based 501c3, and it's good to motivate and get everybody fired up, but what are you going to leave me with? So we got to leave them with something tangible that they can build on, they can tweet out and get on TikTok and Instagram and send out to their friends. And this is how we get our kids going back in the right direction.
We have about 1:47 left. Robert, certainly we commend you on the work that you're doing, and thank you for coming on the show today. We really, really appreciate it. We're going to be praying for the success of the conference. If you could, one more time, give that information for how people can get registered.
Thank you, gentlemen. Pastor Moore, Pastor Jackson, thank you, gentlemen, for all you do for the community. If you want more information, and Brother Baker as well, if you want more information, go to www.robertjacksonmotivates.com. Please, mothers, aunties, grandmothers, I don't want to hear these excuses. You can get online and register your grandsons, your nephews for free. Free. I said for free. Now, for you big ballers and shot callers out there, even you little ballers, please contribute by donating to the conference. Go to robertjacksonmotivates.com, click on Conference 2020, click on Donate. We need you to donate your time, your money, and your resources. God bless you and God keep you. We're going to keep it going.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Dr. Moore.
Thank you, my friend. It's good to be with you today.
And our sponsors, Lee Cousel and Crawley.
Yes, Fervent Prayer Christian Academy. Not only though, Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes.
And the Marion County Health Department.
Al been dressing me for years.
Well, he's doing it. He's a sponsor. He's a great sponsor.
Yes, he is. That's a good brother right there. And that
He don't have anything to fit me, though.
I'm sorry.
He didn't have anything to fit me. I'm just
He got something in there to fit you, brother.
I know he does.
Al been dressing me for years, man. So you know, every time I throw, you see me out there speaking, Al dressed me. So Al's a good brother.
God
All the
bless
best
you.
to you, and we'll be back after this for the rundown. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Moore.
And we're joined by Curtis Baker, our Zoom
Engineer.
This is so amazing. You know, you guys not being in the same room with us anymore. So the timing for me is a little off. So I'm trying to catch up. I know you guys have been doing this for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and this is my first on-camera Zoom. How am I doing?
Great.
Okay.
You're doing well. You look every bit on Zoom, every bit of 70 years old. And
69.
I'm just kidding with you, Curtis.
Yeah,
But you know,
great.
we had a great show with Robert today.
Yeah.
I thought it was phenomenal. I thought that he had some great points. He seems like he's ready to fight the systemic issues that are taking place in our cities. And that's good because, as I said, it's an awkward position to be in. Some of us are tied to it and afraid to talk about it. And he seems like one of those brothers who's not afraid to talk about it because he knows that it has been a part of his life and he's just tired of it, I guess.
I like the fact that he talks about there's no excuse. You know, no matter what situation you come from, no matter what cards have been dealt to you, there's no excuse. You know, you continue to fight forward. And I like that about that brother. I mean, he's really a great speaker. I've been in presence with him when he's talked to some of the young people, and I've seen that they really pay a lot of attention to what he's got to say.
That's great.
Yeah, so they've got amazing things going to be happening, some tremendous speakers that are going to be there with them in that virtual conference.
Yeah, and I think what I liked about how he talked about it, probably, I don't know if it was on, but he talked about how those who have poured into him, now he feels responsible, which is a phenomenal mindset to pour into other young men and to make sure that they have scholarships and that they have the lines of communication open to get to in certain pathways to be successful in life. He's going to be a force to reckon with, I think, in this country, as he is already, as it relates to this systemic racism issue that we're facing.
We'll let that be the last word. We're out of time, but we want to thank all those of you who have joined us today, and we look forward to our next time together on Real People, Real Voices.